Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's Monday morning, and it is a balmy morning at that. It's going to be an absolute scorcher today. I can just feel it. Anyway, there's a breeze coming in from the west, but it's not helping all that much because the breeze is very warm indeed. And we've had a great weekend with the quarterfinals of the World Cup Soccer, seeing Brazil knocked out by Croatia, of all teams. But it just goes to show that it's not how good your individual players are, but how great your team works and collaborates and cooperates together. So what I'm going to do today is continue along the vein that I've been following over the past 2.5 years and deliver yet another book summary. And today's book summary is one entitled Finding My Virginity by an author named Sir Richard Branson, which most of us know. He's a character, he's a personality, and someone who stands out in many ways and sets a new benchmark and a new standard when it comes to corporate activity. Before I go on, this is going to be my 1452nd vlog, and I do continue to promise you that if you stick with me, I, through this channel, through this platform, can teach you more about the things that matter most than anyone else on your social media network or anybody else that you'll come across in your lifetime. I provide variety, I provide OPE, I provide access to other people's experience across a number of different facets of one's life, skills and tricks and life hacks that we can incorporate into our own lives and the lives of others around us, and see whether or not we can use those tricks, use those life hacks, use that experience to better our own cause and of course better the lives of the people in the world around us. So an example, a fine example of somebody who's having a great positive impact, not only on the business world, but on the world of his employees and customers, is Sir Richard Branson, who takes a different type of path to most executives, to most CEOs, and he kicks off his book by making a very powerful statement where he says that in life it's important to stick your neck out, to have a go, to be different and to have fun, because it's a lot more fun by sticking your neck out and having a crack yourself than by sitting at home and watching other people do it. So the call to action, the massive call to action, is for each and every one of us to stick our neck out, have a crack, take some risks, because you never know where that path is going to lead you. You never know what windows, what doors, what opportunities each step along the way are going to reveal and unveil. But you'll only get there through taking the first step, and by taking steps and not holding back, I guess, is the key point. that Richard Branson makes in this book. Richard Branson is unique in terms of how he runs his businesses and how he lives his life. And he says, and he boldly says, that play is an important part of life, and Richard Branson exemplifies this through his own example. He says, and how true it is, just think of our own lives. He says that we sadly grow up and become serious and very boring. We all grow up and become serious and boring. But what he says, and this is a profound point, that you can get better at the serious stuff in your life if you are good at playing. To ask yourself the question, how can I make fun of this? How can I make this fun? And it's an invitation for each and every one of us to take a new approach to our lives, not only our home lives, our private lives, but also our business lives, our work lives, our social lives, because you only get to live once, and the way we behave, the things we say, the things we do, not only have an impact on our lives, but also have a dramatic impact on the lives of all of those around us. So if you change, your world will change as well, is a key message. I'll just head down and out of this rotunda and go on a bit of a walk and talk so we can step through 2 or 3 of the key points that come out of this wonderful book. And I'm sure that, like me, you're going to enjoy some of the messages that Richard Branson is able to share with us. So Richard, in his first point in this book, talks about the importance of doing the hard yards and doing the difficult things, the tricky things. And he says, go where people are getting screwed and treated poorly. And this is from a business perspective, but it can also be from other perspectives as well, because life is a lot more interesting if you're solving problems, I guess, is a key message from Richard Branson. So learn to embrace, learn to love your problems, because at the end of the day, the person who has the most problems and is able to solve the most problems in their lives are the ones who are going to achieve the greatest outcomes over their entire lifetime. So like the bird, the early bird gets the worm, we are also called to action to get up early, to stay up late, and to try and solve the many problems that come our way. Because if you don't solve your problems, guess what? You have a litany of unresolved issues that are going to hold you back and tie you down. So Richard Branson is basically saying and inviting us to go where the problems are, to open your arms, to embrace them, to welcome them, and to remember that God's gift are the problems that come our way. Because one way in terms of serving God and serving our neighbours is by glorifying God and by doing things for other people, to be selfless rather than selfish. So Richard Branson's claim to fame is by being unique and by solving problems to help other people and monetizing those solutions, making money out of what you learn, because the harder the problems that you face, the harder the problems you solve, then the greater patterns that you develop in your brain, in your business models, in your network, and you're able to solve more things more easily, and you're able to put things into perspective as well, into clear perspective, because each problem that you solve, as we said, takes you up a step, makes you more capable, gives you more skill, teaches you something that you didn't know before, because learning is simply the art of attaching the unknown to the known. So the more you do, the more you're capable of doing. The more you learn, the more you're capable of learning. So these are some really interesting points that Richard Branson makes in this book. And, he invites us to join him on his crusade and not to shy away, not to be fearful, not to worry about problems, but to solve them as best you can, knowing that by solving problems, you'll be leaning just outside your comfort zone. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, i.e. being uncomfortable, being challenged, then every day is going to be a learning experience. You're going to learn something new, and that new learning that you have is going to be something that's going to help you progress, get under, through and around your obstacles, just like that ship down there is making its way under the harbour bridge. We too are on a passage that we need to navigate. We're going to go through some rough waters. We're going to go through some calm waters, and there are places and things that we need to do in order to get to where we want to get to. How beautiful is that? And by the way, I didn't time this and I wasn't expecting it, but it just goes to show that sometimes you can be in the right place at the right time and be rewarded by magical manifestations along the way. So what Richard Branson is saying and inviting us to do is to go where people are getting screwed and treated poorly, and to ask yourself, how can we improve this experience for these people? So the worse a person's experience is, the easier it is to improve it, is the message from Richard Branson. So be on the lookout, be a detective for poor service. And I've got to tell you, what I've noticed over the past decade or so is that with the advent of the internet and digital marketing and digital business models, the whole service thing has dropped off. I remember years ago when I'd go to McDonald's, if something, if you weren't served within a couple of minutes, then whatever you bought was going to be free, and whatever was made or pre-made got binned after a certain time limit. Whereas now, the number of times that I go to McDonald's and go to the drive-through and order a meal, for example. Now, by the time I get to the driveway, start heading home, and I put my finger in the bag and pull out that first chip, only to find that it's soggy and it's cold, is so bloody disappointing. But this is where Richard Branson is saying that there in itself is a business opportunity for somebody to solve, somebody to guarantee that the chips are going to be hard and warm and hot and crispy, and your meal's going to be fresh each and every time. So we need to be asking ourselves the question, what can I do to improve this experience. And I remember years ago going to an Anthony Robbins seminar, and he said that most people seem to live their lives at a 6 or a 7 out of 10. But you can make some massive improvements in your life and in the life and in the experiences of those around you by just asking yourself the question, what can I do right now? What can I immediately do right now to turn this into a +8, a +9 experience? And what we find is that there are little things that we can do that can change the overall experience and make it memorable, make it special, and make it, a powerful opportunity to not only improve your life, but to improve the life of others as well. So what the author here is saying, what Richard Branson here is saying, is that there are gaps everywhere in our lives and in other people's lives. And as true detectives, what we need to be doing is to be looking for these gaps and trying to fill them and improve them. And to understand that, bad customer service is an opportunity to create better customer service by solving the issue that the customer has. So what else can we learn from this inspirational individual, this person who in his lifetime has achieved so much? He says one of the great challenges that all businesses have is to assemble a great team of great people, and having the right team and the right people is the recipe for success, because we are naturally teleological in nature. If you can get people who are really good at collaborating and cooperating and working in a team, then they're going to figure it out, and the rest is going to be easy. But it all depends on the team dynamics. And I've worked in organisations where the team dynamics have been absolutely brilliant. But I've also worked in organisations where those great team dynamics have been destroyed by changing the mix, by introducing new people, new employees who spoil it, not only for themselves, but spoil it for others as well. So what Richard Branson talks about here is the importance of having the great team and having a team of elders, having a team of people who can foster, who can establish a great work environment and keep it happening. Because sometimes you don't need, just like the Brazilian team, you don't need a team of great individuals. What you need is one or two people who can bring out the best in everybody. And we saw that with Croatia. You've got their number 10, Modric, I think his name is. He's 37 years old. Like, he's not a spring chicken anymore. And yet, he is an absolute champion. Not only on the field in terms of the way he plays himself, but also how he brings out the best in his younger players. And that's what we need in business, that's what we need in life, that's what we need in our social circles. We need certain individuals to be the elders. And I'm not saying elders in an Indigenous perspective, which is something which is not my forte and not my experience. But what we're saying is people who have experience. You don't have to be old to be an elder. You don't have to spend years and years doing a particular job to be an elder. You just need to have the right attitude. You just need to have the right mindset. You just need to do the right things and say the right things. And for some people that comes naturally. based on the way they've been brought up, the experiences that they have had throughout their lives, the training that they have received, the mentors who have helped shape them and worked with them. So there's a lot that goes into leadership, and it's not something which is age-based, and sometimes experience can be a disadvantage, because I remember working many years at a place called Advantra, and we had an absolutely awesome CEO in Craig Cameron, and he mentioned time and time again, because we were working in a very competitive, fast-changing environment, he said that nobody's been to the future. Absolutely nobody's been to the future. And in a time of rapid and constant change, you need to back yourself, because other people's experiences sometimes may be a disadvantage, because we haven't lived the future. Just like we all have had a different past, we're all experiencing a different present. I am here, you are somewhere else, and we're all going to have a different future. We also have a different fate. Just because my parents, just because my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents, just because my schoolmates couldn't do it, doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to do it. Or just because somebody's been able to do it doesn't necessarily mean that I am going to be able to do it, because we all have, as I mentioned before, a different fate. God has a different plan for each and every one of us. So, we need to express and to work our calling and callings. That's very, very important. So we need to invest in ourselves, we need to work hard, and we need to do all the things we can do to become the very, very best at what we do. But by the same token, we need to accept God's will, and God's will for me may be different to God's will for you. Who knows? Who knows where our futures lie? But we need, as Richard Branson says, to invest in ourselves. We need to be part of great teams. And once you've got the right people in your life, once you have the right chemistry in your life, then everything else will figure itself out. But as Jim Rohn says, eventually we will become the average of the half dozen people that we hang out with. So we need to be discerning in our lives in terms of picking and choosing who those people are that are going to be on our team, to make sure that the lessons and the resources and the support structure that we have are going to work for us as opposed to working against us. Because if you're in a toxic environment, if you're mixing with the wrong people, they're not going to energize you. To the contrary, they are going to deplete you. They're going to drain you of your energy, of your opportunities, and of your dreams as well. Many of them will steal your dreams by talking it down, by talking you down, by being the devil's advocate, and basically taking away any of those opportunities, any of those things that you're born to achieve. So let's not let our culture, let's not let our education, let's not let our past, let's not let the things that we have inherited to hold us back. Sometimes we need to remove certain elements from our lives in order to make room for other people, for other dreams, for other things. So what we're saying is be discerning, and we need to be on the lookout. And our life changes. Our life's never going to be the same as what it once was. So we need to be able to change even though we are restricted, just like that ship is there. We need people to guide us. We need to be careful at certain times of our life, but at other times when we're in the open ocean, when we've got plenty of opportunity around us, we just need to put our foot on the accelerator and just do, as Richard Branson says, all we can do to make the most of our life and have a crack at it. So Richard says that you don't really need a plan for everything, because if you get the right people together, in your life, the things will begin to happen as their gifts are expressed and leveraged from other gifts. So we are different from each other. There's no doubt about that. I'm different to you. I'm different from my wife. I'm different from my children. But the beautiful message, the beautiful Christian message, is that we're not only different from each other, but the reason why we're different is we're different for each other. Because as my spiritual father says, God could have created everything exactly the same. He could have created every building the same, every tree the same, every ship the same, every house the same, every person the same. But how boring would our lives be if everything was monochromatic and in an orderly pattern? Life would be extremely boring, and I guess everybody would have severe mental issues if that was the case. So we're called to leverage our gifts, and we're also called to leverage other people's gifts as well. So the author here talks about the importance of learning to partner with somebody else early on, and that customer service is the key to business success. And if you are new to an industry, partnerships can help you leverage and leapfrog others. You often see people who you wouldn't think would ever partner together. I saw Tsitsipas and Kyrgios partnering together at a tennis match the other day, even though they hate each other's guts. But through that partnership, they gained some leverage, they gained some opportunity, and they both made some serious money. And that's one example, but there are many, many examples, because you can reach more customers, you can reach more people much faster and make a meaningful difference by being clever in who you partner with and how you partner and how you work your capabilities and your skills. Anyway, thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's going to be, as I said, a very, very hot and uncomfortable day today, but we'll make the most of it. The key is to stay hydrated and to get through step by step. For those who don't know where I am, I'm up here at Observatory Hill in the city, and it's a great park, a great place with a great view of the Sydney Harbour Bridge and North Sydney. And it's a place where I recommend you get your friends, get your families, and come down here with your picnic blanket and enjoy the view and enjoy this wonderful place. So wishing you all the best, make the most of this business week ahead and enjoy what's going on in our lives, and have fun, as Richard Branson says, because if you're having fun, chances are you're going to invite other people to have fun as well. So take care, wishing you all the best, and have a happy and most productive Monday. Yassas, and bye for now.